One of the things that we don't talk about as much, or at least I don't, is varietals. Coffee varietals. What is it? What are they? Are they different? Does it matter where it's grown? Do they more so taste the same? Region to region, to country. And what does that mean to you? And why you should probably get into knowing your varietals. Again, I'm not on my high horse here. As you can see in front of me, there's different coffees. I kind of briefly talked about these coffees in particular, but they're all different in their own ways. But some of them are more similar than others. I had an opportunity to actually get introduced by this actual exporter, grower, importer. And I had a unique situation to where I can actually buy a pound or 500 grams of these coffees, which to me, that's a lot. Even just by buying one bag, that you can analyze the coffees real easily with just this amount of coffee, you know? So I took it through its initial phase, one recipe, one brew recipe. And when I did that, I started to understand coffees, varietals even more so. Whenever somebody would say anything about varietals, I was like, whatever, it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. It matters what I taste. In truth, yes, both of them are true. And that's one of the things that we have to remember when we're actually drinking coffee. It's like, do all the varietals with different countries and everything, do they taste the same? Those are some of the questions that we should start asking ourselves. For instance, when I embarked on this journey, I started with this coffee right here. And what they say that the varietal is Javanika, 100% Arabica. So they shorten for Java. I don't actually know what Java is or Javanika is. This is actually the first time I've actually heard about it, you know, but this is what they say it is. And I tasted it. It tasted like a typical Central South American coffee, one that didn't have too much fruit on it. It was chocolatey, somewhat nutty, very low acidic. And I was like, okay, that's a good way to kind of get into it, right? And then I went ahead and tasted strictly high grown coffee. And they didn't say what the actual varietal is, but we know that it's washed. Okay, so it's different than the other one. This one, same thing. Kind of tasted like a typical coffee, diner coffee. Nothing's wrong with that. Everybody likes what they like, right? And then as I kept going, I wanted to make sure that I was tasting the coffees for what they are, right? And then I went to the next one, something very familiar, but still different. Wash yellow Caturra, okay? So that's the varietal, yellow Caturra. I know they have different colors and all that. So when I had this one, it started to open up. It was fruity, it was lively. It was more like oaky coffee. That's the way I look at it. This is something that gets me truly, really excited. So I was like, interesting. Same farm, different varietals. They're talking and saying different things. Interesting. From the exact same farm, right? And then I started to embark on different ones. So this right here is a Catamaran. Can't remember which one this one was, but it was interesting too. It was different, but similar to what I was tasting. And then the Lorena, I believe the Lorena was very fruity, vibrant, had a different aftertaste on it. It talked to me in different ways and I liked it. And then of course I went with something else that I'm familiar with in the Pacamara. And it was juicy, also lively. Little acidity on it to let you know that it's there. But very good coffee, good representation of Pacamara. And then of course the last one, which I think is probably everybody's holy grail to an extent, which is it smells better than it tastes. Unfortunately, it didn't say much to me when it was hot. It got extremely interesting as it cooled, got to room temperature. It was extremely floral on the smell, on the taste. There's some acidity, but it wasn't offensive, and it was fruit forward. Can't really decipher what the fruit was. So these are the coffees. These are the varietals. I tasted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 coffees. I learned a lot from this experiment, and I'm just barely getting started. There's more tests, there's more things I want to do, roast them differently. I believe all these, I'll check with my gadgets and all that these are lightly roasted coffees. So I'm going to put it through its paces as a medium and a dark and all that good stuff. But I guess what I'm saying here is that one of the things that we do or kind of do is that we just kind of do the same thing. A lot of times when I do things, I just kind of pick the ROB 60. I do a simple recipe. I drink my coffee, third wave water, and I rinse and repeat. I'm not really trying to grow. I'm not really trying to understand and expand my mind, which is perfectly fine. You don't have to be like this world-class coffee aficionado that does everything and anything coffee, right? But one thing that I have learned throughout this whole experiment is that we can push ourselves even more, but also learning more about the coffee as we go down our journey. It's just a way for us to enjoy it even more so. Because it's not, again, about the destination. It's about being in that journey majority of the time and understanding what we're doing, why we're doing it, and all that stuff. Same thing here. Like I said, I'm not on my high horse, but it did actually open me up to actually try to understand coffees, varietals, what it really means, how they taste. Like, I would love to start getting into different coffees from different regions, different countries, and tasting this yellow Catouille with this yellow Catouille, and to see if those flavor profiles are similar and how does the soil actually change and affect the coffee, especially if it's washed process similarly. See if there's like a correlation there. Those are some of the things that we can do to truly understand our thing that we like a lot. Again, this is not necessary. This is more so for you. All the things that I'm doing is for me, but also for you, but also giving you a reason to explore more than what we're used to doing each and every time that we drink our coffee. Because like you and me, we all go through our ruts. We all go through the things that we, don't like about things. And as we do that and understand that these are just different things that we can do to understand the things that we're trying to do, it gets us in a place to really understand and not be as naive to situations, even though we do think we know so much about coffee, about brewing techniques, about what works for majority of the people, or at least more importantly, what works for us. So like I said, as I sit here and just kind of just drink these coffees, analyze them, drink 1 cup. From that 1 cup, I learned so much, and enough for me to like kind of just talk to you about it. And as we go through this whole process, hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to the person, the importer, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it soon. Is that it gives us that opportunity to understand things even more. Because for instance, I'll take it very simple. When we think of an apple, we think of it as an apple, right? But in truth, that's a very lazy way to kind of think about things. It's an identifier, but that's just the core of what we're trying to do here. Really, what we're trying to do here is understand exactly what that particular apple is and how it's tasting to us. There's so many different apples in the world. There's Galas, there's Fuji, there's Granny Smith, there's Red Delicious, there's Opal. There's all these different types of apples out there that I haven't even talked about or even know of, or something that they just made up. At its core, it does taste like an apple. Just like these right here, at their core, they taste like coffee. But in truth, when we start to like peel the layers and stay in it and kind of engage ourselves and really try to understand all the things that we're trying to do as it comes and relates to coffee or understanding things in general, is that we're going beyond the surface. We're going beyond what we think that we know this thing to be. We're getting to know it even more so. And as we get to know things even more so, that's where we understand and where we can expand our minds and understand all the things that we're really trying to do. Same thing with coffee. It gives us a different perspective rather than this is a good coffee. These are the notes that we're tasting. Probably these are the notes that we're tasting is because from the soil and from the actual varietal that we're using, that we're drinking. Probably more so the varietals taste the way that they taste, but their uniqueness in the way that they're actually produced, those are different things that we can actually taste into the coffee. Those are more so what we're looking at and trying to understand. And as we peel the layers out, push ourselves, we're going to be in a better place to where it's like, hey, I understand the things that we're trying to do and getting there, and better to explain to others and to ourselves that, hey, this is coffee, but this is coffee of this style, this class, this taste. Excuse me. This soil, the way that the sun hits it, how long it takes to actually produce, and what that actually means to us when we drink that coffee. As an espresso, as a filter, it doesn't matter. But it gives us a better understanding of what we like and why we like it. So then when we go to the coffee shop or to pick our coffees either on a website or to that roastery's establishment or the store, we can pick up the bag, read the notes, see how high it's grown, and also check out the varietal. We start to pick up on things that we like about this particular varietal and seeing how it's different from region to region, from roaster to roaster. And then we're just expanding our minds. So let's open up ourselves even more so. I'm going to do that. And let's just go for a ride. So this is Oki at Everyday Beans. Just talking to you later. Bye.